Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beth, and I'm very excited to film today's video because I am going to talk about this newly viral foundation. It's not new as a product, but anyway. So as I talked about in the London haul video that I just posted, I purchased one of the two shades that is not available in the US while I was in London. So this is the shade 0C1 Opal. So we'll see how this does, as well as the overall formula and everything like that, because I haven't tried it yet. So I'm very curious about this one. It just coincidentally happened to go viral, which is kind of odd. But I also purchased their new concealer, which is actually a new product. This is the Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Concealer. So it's kind of the companion concealer to, again, this newly viral foundation that launched, I think, last year. So this is the Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation. I think they also have a powder in this line. I don't have that, but I do basically have a full face of Laura Mercier. I don't have one of everything, and she doesn't make one of everything that I would need. But I'm using all the Laura Mercier products that I can, including this Japan in Bloom eyeshadow palette, which you would think would be a spring release, but it actually launched, I want to say sometime late fall. I have a reel, I think, swatching this, so I'll be using this on the eyes. But yeah, I think that's everything, so I'll go ahead and jump into it. So I do plan to do like a 12-hour wear test if I can. So it is now 12 o'clock, bang on the dot, so hopefully I will be able to take this till midnight. I'll tell you a little bit about the claims of the different products, but the foundation I think is supposed to have a 12-hour wear, and the concealer is supposed to have a 16-hour wear. I'm not going to go the full 16 hours, but anyway. Okay, so the first step here, I'm going to use a sample of her Pure Canvas Primer. This is the hydrating one. She also has the blurring. I have a little deluxe sample, but I think with my skin type being more dry, I think this is the route I want to go. Normally I would apply like a super hydrating base like the Make Reverse Emulsion or the Rose Ink serum. But I wanted to kind of take a more cautious approach with this one, and obviously use as many Laura Mercier products as I can. I did apply my skincare, including my sunscreen. I'm not sure how much product is actually in here. So it looks like it's kind of a lotiony type texture like you might expect. So I'm just going to try to get this on the skin. I was doing some kind of light Wikipedia research for this video, just curious about Laura Mercier as a brand, because I think she herself was French, but they do have this kind of New York element to them. Yeah, it says Paris and New York. So I gather that as a relatively young makeup artist, she came over to New York and had a lot of famous clients in the 90s. It's kind of interesting, both Laura Mercier and Bobbi Brown, both were kind of the same era, and Laura Mercier is not owned by Laura Mercier now. It's owned by, I'm not sure if it's Shiseido or if it's another like private equity firm now, but anyway. So I'm applying the Charlotte Tilbury corrector. She doesn't make like explicitly, I say she, the brand, doesn't make explicitly a color corrector, I don't think, although she does have some concealer products that you could probably use in that way. I'll be using the new concealer, but I did want to talk about this product as well, the Secret Camouflage Brighten and Correct Duo. And I've talked about this in a previous video. I think it won an Allure Best of Beauty Award one year. Mine is getting a little old. I probably need to toss it. But this one is the correct side. So you can see it's just more of a flesh tone. And then the Brighten side, honestly, I didn't ever find a whole lot of use for. I think it's supposed to be a little bit more luminous. But anyway, this was in the shade 0.5N. So when I was looking to purchase this foundation initially, I would go into Sephora and swatch the various shades, and the ones that were available, including like 0N1, all looked kind of yellow leaning, so that's the reason why I really wanted to try out this 0C1 shade. Even though cool shades I swatched this before. Cool shades can lean a little peach on me. So let's go ahead and crack into this foundation. So this retails for $48, and I do like the look of the bottle, which is one reason why I wanted to purchase it, even though that's silly. This is supposed to be a weightless foundation that blurs the line between makeup and skin with medium buildable coverage, waterproof wear, and up to 12 hours of fade-proof wear. So up to kind of being the operative words there. Natural finish, and it's supposed to have blurring bamboo silk powders and a hydrolipid matrix, which are supposed to balance moisture and shine control to maintain skin's optimal state. But they do also say that it's hydrating, so we'll see how that goes. It is January as I'm filming this. So I think on the Sephora website they have 30 shades, but as I mentioned, there is this shade and 2N2 Linen, I think is the other one that is, as far as I can tell, not available in the US. And that was one thing I wanted to mention, just that it's always, you can see it maybe a little peach. It's always a little tough to kind of gauge the popularity of brands based on what you see on YouTube, because there are brands that do not trend on social media, with the exception of the latest kind of viral moment, that don't trend on social media but are still very popular, very in demand, especially abroad. So I was wondering, because there are products that Laura Mercier doesn't seem to sell in the US, like her holiday palette, I'm going to use the Nikki LaRose N17. Because the viral video kind of was like this, was what made it go viral, I guess. Yeah, there were products from maybe a tad peach looking. There were products that just blend in really nicely though. And I don't typically like this style of brush. I just thought that because it was what was used in the video, and you know, kind of going back to that more 90s style as well. If I can ever finish my thought. So the eyeshadow palette from her holiday collection, I don't think was ever, but the other ones just looked yellow. Palette from her holiday collection, I don't think was ever released over here. I do have a sample of a foundation as well, just to show you. This is in 1N2. So this is probably going to be too dark. I do like how it comes with a little paddle though. So this is a neutral shade. And I think, like I said, so you can see 1N2 next to 0C1. And honestly, it doesn't look that much deeper. It just looks like more yellow. So I do wish that brands would make truly neutral products where they didn't have such a strong undertone. They were a little bit more of that kind of beige look to them. But I think it does look really nice. I think you can see a little bit up here where like it doesn't look quite as blended, maybe a few streak marks. And I thought maybe in between my brows as well, that area of the face tends to be a little bit drier. So that's how we're looking, very skin-like. I do agree with the weightless claim, although I didn't apply too much, I don't think. I'm going to try more of a kabuki style. This is the 106 from BK. And then maybe I'll go over, so that's 2 pumps worth. My husband is calling his father in the next room. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay, so I said I was going to use the BK 106. Yeah, blending in is very, very easy with this foundation. Maybe not so much on the nose. So I like the finish. I think maybe I can build it up. It's maybe looking a little dry on the nose. Let's go wet my sponge. So I'm just going to pop on maybe a little bit more and see if I can kind of build up the coverage a little bit. I think this level of coverage is what I like personally, but I think it did claim to be medium buildable. So it did say buildable. And of course, a sponge is not going to build coverage as much as a brush will, but I wish the color was a little bit better. This does kind of remind me a bit of the Prada foundation, which I tried in that London video. I might do a, I don't know, new at Sephora type video at some point because I have a new shade of the Kosas concealer. I've purchased the Fenty concealer, and I do have the Natasha Denona, the Mini Dream collection, so I feel like I might have enough for kind of a dedicated video. But if you are my shade twin, before you go to the hassle of ordering this from, you can order it from like Space & K and have it delivered without any crazy like shipping or taxes or anything. But if you are my shade twin, before you go to the trouble of doing that, I would just maybe, I don't know, take a beat. If you do have more of a peach undertone, but you're about my level, I guess, then you might love it. Okay, so that is it for the base. I think I'm gonna leave it there for now. But let's talk about the concealer, which, as I said, is new, and I got it in the shade 0N1. So this should be kind of the perfect match for the 0N1 foundation. I did check like on the Space & K website though, and they don't sell a 0N1 concealer. They have a little chart like a lot of brands do where if you wear this foundation, they recommend this other product. And I think this is the shade they also recommend for the 0C1 foundation, which I thought was interesting. So that's what the component looks like. I think it's a frosted plastic, and this is the doe foot. Kind of a interesting curve to it. It's almost like a little C, if you can see that. Okay, so let's plop some of this on. You saw I did use corrector. This is very creamy. It's a little bit thicker than I would have expected from a brand that was kind of touting a weightless type product. But yeah, I did apply corrector because I always use a corrector. I just find that it gives me the best results, and I would rather go with a like lighter, creamier concealer rather than something that's supposed to be like super caked on and full coverage is kind of my preference. So that is why I did that, and I didn't do just one eye because I am seeing my family later. We're celebrating my niece's birthday, so I mean, I think they would understand if my makeup looked a little crazy, but I want it to look good to a certain extent. Okay, so this retails for $33, which it seems like concealers are kind of creeping up in price again. Like the new Fenty concealer, I think is $30, which seemed a little high for Fenty. And I guess in terms of like inflation and price increases, it makes more sense to kind of launch new products with that higher price point, obviously, than raise it later on. So this is supposed to be a weightless, serum-infused, multitasking concealer that quickly brightens, hydrates, and smooths while providing medium coverage, up to 16 hours of wear time, and a natural finish. 22 shades, and 0N1 is very fair with neutral undertones. So I think on my dry under eyes, I did use like an eye cream earlier, but nothing heroic in terms of moisture. I think that looks pretty good. I mean, there's a little bit of creasing happening, but that's normal, and this hasn't been set yet. I don't think the shade is terrible, but maybe a little bit of a pinker tone would be better. I did order the lightest shade in the Fenty concealer, which is supposed to be light with pink undertones. So I have her secret brightening powder that I thought I would try setting with. Haven't touched this in a while. So, oops. There's a lot that's gotten into the cap. So like I mentioned, she has a, I think, pressed or baked powder to go with the foundation, but I don't have that. Obviously her translucent setting powder is kind of a cult favorite. Loose powder is not necessarily my favorite type of form factor, but there you go. So that is the eye with the brightening powder, and that is the Unset Eye. This is just like an open container with holes in it, and this could be the full size. I did check, I think that she still makes this. I feel like we've come a long way in terms of packaging loose powder as well. I talked about the Mob Beauty powder container, which I understand is supposed to be biodegradable and all that, but I have decanted it into some of these little guys from Amazon, which have the kind of twist to dispense type mechanism. I filmed a reel doing that, so that should be up at some point. But yeah, it's such a shame when, again, I understand what they were going for, but you have a good product, but everyone complains about the packaging. That's not ideal. And of course, I am filming in daylight, so if things get a little weird with the light going in and out, it should have been, I think the sun just came out, so it's looking a little dark. All right, so for contour, I don't think she has a contour. All right, so I'm just going to use my little milk stick here and contour the jaw and all right, so now that that's mostly blended, like again, like I think, let me turn this up a little bit. Like I think on my nose especially, it just looks a little bit dry, especially where I was just trying to blend the contour. The cheeks look good. So she has like a brow pencil, but I just used my brow gel, and I guess for powder is next. So I know she has like the tinted moisturizer, blushes and bronzers. I don't think those have been like super well regarded, so I haven't really messed around with those. This loose setting powder I think is just the original. I think she might have like an ultra blurring or like talc free type option now. And this might be like a travel size, I'm guessing. So I'm just gonna use the same brush I used. I guess I'll just start doing some more kind of pinpointed setting where I think I need it. And then I'm going to use a bigger powder brush, I guess for more of a fluffy type application. So that's how it's looking set. That's why I normally film after it gets dark. Okay, so that is the base set. And there's, again, a little bit of creasing still under my eyes, but that's fairly normal for me. And normally I do put some eyeshadow underneath to help with that. So I think what I want to do next, I think I might try out this bronzer actually I just got, which I mentioned in my London haul again. This is the Laura Geller, different Laura. This is the Baked Bronze and Brighten Fair. It's another kind of, I guess, legacy brand that I think has kind of taken off a little bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna try and get it evenly in my bristles. I don't want to go too bronze, but just want a little bit of color. I have to say, with it being a dome, it is a little bit more of a challenging, it is more of a challenge to kind of get it on a wider brush like this. So I think it's really pretty though. It's a pretty tone. I think it's a little bit luminous. This brush keeps shedding on me. Okay, so yeah, I just thought I would try that out. And then for blush, so like I said, she has the tinted moisturizer blushes, which I have a sample of here, but instead I'm going to use her pressed powder blushes. So I have a few here. I have some mini kind of sample sizes. This one is Ginger, which I gather is pretty popular. It's the shade of her new Lunar New Year collection. It's a repeat shade, so don't be fooled. And then this one is the shade Rosé. And then I think the other one that I have in a full size is in Passion Fruit. So that is a little bit more of a warmer pink. I want to go with, I think, Rosé. This little blush, this little guy was actually really great to travel with. I took it to London because it's nice and compact. Okay, so just taking my Rephr number 5 brush, which kind of fits nicely in there. And I know Morgan Turner really likes these blushes. So nothing crazy in terms of pigmentation or anything, but you don't always want like a super pigmented blush either. I feel like there was a little bit of my nose contour that wasn't super blended, but maybe that's just the foundation wearing off. So yeah, so these are buildable, which is nice. It's probably not going to show up a lot on camera, but okay. I think we can leave it there. So I wanted to talk a little bit about her highlighters. So do you guys remember this? This is the Matte Radiance Baked Powder in Highlight 01. So this was one of those kind of interesting, like, natural kind of highlighters that's been out for a while. So that's kind of how that one looks on the skin. So if you're into that kind of thing, that is a kind of a throwback product for you. But the product I did want to try, which is new, or relatively new, is her liquid highlighter in the shade Champagne Pink. So this is following the kind of Charlotte Tilbury model, shall we say. And I think I went off in one video, I'm not sure which one it was. But yeah, same applicator, you open and close it. My point was basically that that might have been a little bit too much. I'm just gonna dab it on my hand. And that might be a little bit too pink for me. I said this was in the shade Champagne Pink. She didn't have, I'm just gonna do it a little bit lower, maybe, in case I need to kind of blend it down. I don't think she had like a true, I think it blended in well, a true kind of more icy or light pink type highlighter, so I did the best that I could. But basically, I'm just taking what's on my hand here. Basically what I was saying is, I think we're getting to the point where we can stop looking at all these products as Charlotte Tilbury dupes, because like Laura Mercier and Tarte, for example, are two companies that have come out with similar style of products, similar components, and they're not selling them at a lower price. So you're not looking to those brands to save a buck, right? Elf maybe, or I don't know, Makeup Revolution, there have been a lot of them. But when you're presenting alternatives at basically the same price point, I think we need to kind of shift the narrative or our focus really and just say Charlotte Tilbury was kind of like the innovator, the trailblazer to introduce this style of product and this style of packaging. My guess is that the Charlotte Tilbury brand, didn't design this packaging, that there was a packaging component brand that was using this or introduced this, and she used it, and then her products took off because she's known for creating those types of looks, right? But the comparison I drew was like a tube mascara. Like we used to have, for the most part, mascaras in like cake form, and now, with the exception of a few like Besame, you just never really see a mascara in a cake form because new packaging innovations have come out, new formulas. I think CoverGirl was the first brand to introduce the kind of rubberized style bristle as opposed to the traditional nylon type. And when a new mascara comes out now with a rubberized bristle, you don't say it's a CoverGirl dupe or ripoff or whatever. There are, of course, still brands that try to dupe very popular high-end mascaras with the shape of the bristles and all that, but yeah, what I'm basically trying to say is I think now it's just a new category of product, and Charlotte Tilbury was the first one in that product. But we can compare this style of product the same way we do like powder blushes, for example, because if you really want to go back, I think Pot Rouge was mostly like in a cream format. So at some point we have these new developments in powder formulas and baked formulas and all that. So yeah, that's basically my point. Is I don't really think we should side-eye brands like this. Like, I know that's kind of the inclination still, but I think it's just a new category of products, really. Okay, so this is the Japan in Bloom palette. It's a pretty affordable palette, but it's not the most luxurious packaging either. You can tell this is just like a sticker that's been slapped on here, I think. Or maybe not. Maybe it's printed. I don't feel any kind of raised edge or whatever. But yeah, even so, it doesn't feel super luxe. It's just a kind of little plastic component with a snap closure. I think for the price point, it is a very good price point. I think it's in the $30 range for an 8-pan palette. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty compact as well if you wanted to travel. Has a nice mirror, does stay up and all that. So I don't think it's bad by any means. I just don't think it's very luxurious, and now the clouds are going away, so it's going to look super bright. So yeah, I think this particular one is maybe sold out on the US Laura Mercier website, but I think it was still in stock at Space NK from what I saw. And like I said, I do have a reel swatching this. So I'm going to use this little cream peach shade almost. And I just applied the Fenty eye primer. I thought about using one of her caviar sticks because that is another one of her like most famous products, probably one of their top money makers, that kind of thing. But I just don't like stick eyeshadow like that generally. And I find that I generally, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Generally have better luck with a primer and powder. So I will say that the eye is looking a little bit dry now. Maybe I should have set the concealer with a different powder I was more familiar with. But I'll try and maybe use this again in the near future and keep you guys updated. But yeah, it does look a little dry. I feel like I lost some of the kind of dewiness and hydration that I had. Sometimes when I'm doing my makeup, I will take the extra step of using under eye patches like these Ulta ones, but I didn't want to do too much, basically. I'm going to take that, it's almost a yellowy brown, really. I didn't want to kind of paint too rosy a picture. And I remember when Laura Mercier had a lot of eyeshadow palettes. I think I might have decluttered the ones that I had, but she had some, I want to say they were like 10 or 12 pan, kind of in the same vein as like the ABH palettes. So yeah, it's just interesting to me as I've been doing makeup as a hobby, I guess, for the last 12 years, is it? Kind of how things have changed and developed. Like, I remember in 2010 or 2011 when the Urban Decay Naked palette came out, and that was such a big deal. And now Urban Decay is shutting like its international UK website and things. Obviously, we've had new brands come to the fore since then. I'm gonna use that really dark brown, just a little booster. Be a little bit gentle with this. So yeah, so I think this palette is, how do I say this? It's going to be a little bit more consumer friendly. I think with this dark shade, it will provide depth for a lot of skin tones, and I'm trying to be very sparing with it, and I need to blend it out. And we do have a couple good transition shades. I didn't use that darker one there, but I think that could be a good crease or transition shade for more of a medium skin tone. So just taking more of that lighter brown on this Sonia G. I got a notification that my Lucky box or Lucky bag has shipped from Beautylish. I think hopefully that should be here on Wednesday. So I am hoping to film kind of an unboxing that night. Hopefully it gets here on time. But yeah, I'm very, very excited. I've never had a, did I just get that on my finger? I've never gotten a lucky bag before, and I got the XL. So hopefully it works out. I'm gonna try this taupe to begin with. It's actually a little warmer than I thought maybe. I'm going to be wearing a bright, like Barbie pink hoodie later because for my niece's birthday, I got her, she's 5 basically. I'm going to go into that pink shade now. I got her the movie, like the Margot Robbie Barbie doll in the pink gingham dress. And then I also got her from Gap, they had, this one is showing a little bit of texture, and this is just a dry brush, by the way. They also had hoodies, and they had like an adult size, which I purchased for myself, a kid size. They also put out a Barbie doll sized Gap hoodie, that lightest pink now. So hopefully I can get a picture of me wearing it, my niece wearing it, and then also the Barbie wearing it. I think that'll be really cute. I think kids enjoy that kind of matching their toys, matching adults. I don't know. Hopefully she likes it. So yeah, this is not my favorite formula. I don't think it's looking a little dry on the lips. And let me take, I think there was maybe just a little bit of fallout. These brows, I think, need a little bit of help too. So I'm just curious what will happen if I wet my brush. I'm going to take the Lisa Eldridge. I stopped using MAC Fix Plus because I think the fragrance in that was starting to irritate my eyes whenever I used it. Like it would make my eyes water. Finally kind of put 2 and 2 together. Yeah, I know it's more expensive, but if you have more mature lids and you still like a little bit of a shine and sparkle, I think the Makeup by Mario palette is one of the best for mature lids, even with those like topper shades. I think, you know, it doesn't make your eyes look textured or dry or anything like that. I think that is what I would recommend over this. I'm going to, what happens if I just tap? I mean, they do have a very thick feeling to them. Maybe she'll come out with a weightless eyeshadow formula. Yeah, not totally in love with that, but it'll do. I'm kind of excited to try her new eyeliner. So this is in the shade Bronze. So this is the Caviar eyeliner pencil, and I remember Stephanie Marie talking about these. They seem to be the type of formula I will like, and cap is really on there. That kind of pencil, and I think they're supposed to be really creamy. So that's the shade Bronze. It's not too warm or metallic, so I think it should work well. And for reference, I like both the Victoria Beckham and the Lisa Eldridge pencils are kind of my favorite. And yeah, I think I can tell already that this one is not quite as creamy. It seems like it might be a little bit waxier. This color is also it's not super deep, I don't think. So I'm gonna do the thing where I run the little angled brush across the tip and do a little bit of a wing. So I think it looks nice. It's just not, I don't think anything super special. I wonder if the like cosmetic chemist or factory that made the Victoria Beckham one is also making formulas for other luxury high-end brands. I watched Lisa Eldridge do a video with Victoria Beckham where I think she used kind of a mix of Lisa Eldridge and Victoria Beckham products. It seems like they're friends. And I think they were going out together too, so I guess it's nice to see people who are technically competitors, but still kind of, I don't know, collegial towards each other, friendly even. Okay, I think that's good enough. So yeah, I forget how much these eyeliners were, but I would say if you want kind of a very nice high-end liner, I would say definitely go for Victoria Beckham. I know she just had a price increase, but I think she did a few more sales last like holiday period than she normally does. So I don't know if maybe she'll offer more than just a like 20% off Black Friday sale. And it has, I think, set pretty much. So if you are looking for something that maybe isn't quite as creamy as the Victoria Beckham / Lisa Eldridge, or you want something that, yeah, is just not going to move around as much, then you might really enjoy that. All right, so for mascara, I think she might have some. I don't know. I feel like mascaras are so personal. So I like using the Clinique bottom lash. And then, of course, for my top lashes, I like the Tarte Lights Camera Splashes, always giving them a good curl. Yeah, and the more I look at it, I mean, it's just, I think this eyeshadow is just maybe more of a satiny type formula. I don't think it's giving me what I like in an eyeshadow, but your mileage may vary. All right, so now that the mascara is on, I think this one might be, I don't know, getting to the point of needing to be replaced anyway. For lips, I thought I might have had like a deluxe mini of one of her lip products, but the only thing I could find really was this kind of bubble sampler of her Rouge Essentiel Silky Cream lipstick. So I thought I would just kind of throw some of this on. Probably use this kind of nudie pink color. So just removing some of that. I think from what I recall, this is just kind of a nice satin lipstick. It says high impact color fuses with weightless texture. She's really big into the weightlessness of it all. Weightless texture for the ultimate statement making lips. Moisturizes and conditions lips to create a smooth surface for pure color laid down. 30 individually crafted colors for every occasion. Okay, so this one comes with a little applicator. Sometimes it's fun using these little samples. You feel like you're, I don't know, doing something in a lab or whatever. Tiny little doe foot. Okay. Do you guys use these samples ever? I know some people just don't like to have samples because they just tend to be clutter, but yeah, it does have kind of a silicone-y feel to it, almost to the point where it could be a little bit drying. Yeah, I think they're relying more on silicones to kind of give you the slip than like oils and, didn't mean to do that. Oils and butters, that would be a little bit more hydrating. I do like this little doe foot. I think it's kind of fun and it's easy to get like a super precise line. I guess that's basically what a lip brush does if you have a full-size lipstick. Not a bad color though. Maybe a little bit warmer than I would typically go. Okay, so that is the final look. I just want to take a look at the ingredients super quickly here to see if my suspicions were correct. Yeah, the first ingredient is dimethicone, more dimethicones. Then it has caprylic capric triglyceride, microcrystalline wax, and then midway down we have like camellia seed oil, jojoba seed oil. Interesting. Okay, so that is the final look. Let me know what you guys think. I'm trying to get in focus so you can kind of get a good look at the skin texture. I feel like so far it looks pretty good. Not too shiny, but not totally flat either. And like I said, I do plan to do, what time is it now? Almost 1 o'clock. So hopefully I'll be able to do, I guess, a 12-hour check-in and let you know how everything looks. I can tell you Yeah, I'm already not loving, I guess, the way that my under eyes look. Not the worst ever, but like I said, that could be partly the fault of the powder. Normally I do set my concealer, but maybe with this one I can just kind of set just under the lash line. So yeah, I'll keep playing around with that in different combinations, like I said. But yeah, I think the foundation so far looks good. I'm just worried it's going to look a little bit crusty by the end of the day. But anyway, that's it for now. So I will check in with you guys later. All right, so we are back, and I haven't changed anything about the lighting or the camera settings, by the way, so just to let you know that. But yeah, it is 1 a.m., so it has been a full 12 hours, and I am tired. You can see I put my hoodie on earlier. I did the like hair trick, which I think prevented any of the foundation from transferring or whatever. And I also wore sunglasses for a bit earlier, and I think it looks pretty good on the nose. I didn't touch that up at all. I think you can maybe see some slight marks, but nothing too obvious. It's interesting because I do look shiny right now. Even though I have dry skin, it's fairly common for foundations to look a bit shiny by this point in the night. I will mention that right after I guess, cut off the last clip, I did spray my face with the Lisa Eldridge Mist because I was feeling a little bit dry. And like right now, I definitely have that kind of dry feeling, like I want to take my makeup off, even though I look a bit shiny. So kind of an interesting paradox, but I will say I am really impressed by how, like, it hasn't settled into my forehead line there. My marionette lines, I think, look pretty good. So, like, I think, especially on the cheek area, like, it still looks really good. And wherever it has worn off, I think it's worn off pretty gracefully. I think maybe around the mouth and that kind of thing, it doesn't look the best. I think underneath my eyes, it maybe has kind of settled in a little bit better too. Like, it doesn't look quite as dry as maybe it did after I first applied and set it. So I think what I want to do, I might just set the forehead. I'm going to use my Charlotte Tilbury powder. And one thing I wanted to note before I close out this video is that the whole premise of this video was a full face or nearly full face of Laura Mercier. Even though I'm using a different powder now, this is what I would typically use. And I haven't touched up with powder or anything throughout the day, so you can see the difference right there. So I'm just going to set or touch up with powder a little bit there. Maybe just a little bit kind of in the T-zone. And I think that looks pretty good. Granted, the concealer said it was 16-hour wear, but I don't feel the need to have it on for 16 hours. So this is a very, very fine mist, by the way, but just, yeah, to kind of, I don't know, refresh the makeup a little bit. I think that did the trick. So yeah, this kind of video was to see how Laura Mercier videos played together and wore. I think, like, the next video I think I will film is the, what is it called? The Lucky Bag unboxing. So I think in that video I will use both of these products again with my own, like, primer and powders that I prefer. So stay tuned for that. I'll give you a little bit of an update. That won't be a wear test. That'll just be the, I guess, evening application or whatever. But if I do have it on for a few hours, I'll probably leave a pinned comment if there was anything remarkable. So just to kind of run down the list here, the primer, I think I want something a little bit more hydrating from mine. So like I said, I typically go for like the Make Reverse Emulsion or the Rose Ink product. So I don't think that's going to be kind of a new favorite of mine. The foundation, like, I'm really impressed with the wear. I still think the shade could be tweaked a little bit. So it's not perfect for me. Did I compare it to the Prada foundation earlier? I know in the London video, the London haul video that I've been editing, I talked about how the Fenty foundation stick is my favorite. So yeah, I don't know that, again, this will supplant that favorite. I think the Fenty is a little bit of a better match for me. So I will have to figure out when I will be able to film with that new concealer as well. Let's see. So the powder, so I typically prefer a pressed powder anyway, so that's more of a form factor thing. I like the Charlotte Tilbury powder. You can see, I want to say this is at least my second one of these, and I'm almost completely through it. So yeah, this is my powder of choice. I like the By Terry pressed hydro powder a lot as well, especially for underneath the eyes. So I don't think the powders, I mean, they've been out for a while, but I haven't fallen in love with those kind of classic products. The blush was nice. I forget how much her blushes retail for full price. I think I like the Armani formula better. I think you get a little bit more pigment payoff. So if those are roughly equivalent in price, I would probably recommend going for the Armani over the Laura Mercier, unless you want a really kind of soft, buildable blush color. I think there's still obviously bronzer. There's still chic product there. And I do like the little minis for travel purposes, but it was a little difficult to build up the color. The liquid highlighter, again, I would probably just go for the Charlotte Tilbury, especially in Spotlight is my favorite shade. And the Laura Mercier product is nice, but I don't think it really does anything that special for me. Yeah, and same with the remainder of the products, I think. The Cherry Blossom palette, the eyeliner, and the lip product. If you like a really silicone-y type formula, you may like her lipsticks. And the palette, like I said, is going to have a softer shimmer. Like, I think, again, it has kind of settled in a little bit, but I think I have different preferences in eyeshadow, so your mileage may vary on that one. And same with the eyeliner pencil. Like, it is a little bit of a waxier formula. I feel like, especially, is it on this eye? I feel like it has kind of disappeared a little bit. So that is not terrific. Like, the wings are still there. But if you do want to see kind of a long wear test of both the Lisa Eldridge and the Victoria Beckham liners, I did kind of a head-to-head back in September, I believe. So I'll link that for you if you want to check it out. But yeah, I guess where I'm landing on this is that maybe because these are the newest products, like the formulas seem the most sophisticated and modern. Some of these, I guess the pencils are relatively new as well, but some of this just comes down to preference, and some of it may just be that I prefer other formulas that are more cutting edge, I guess I would say, or newer. So I hope that gave you at least some information that will help you in making any purchasing decisions. Like I said, I will continue to play around with these and let you know how it goes. I haven't like completely disqualified them, and I don't think they're awful makeup. Like, I think the look I came out with today was a very kind of pretty soft look, which is nice. And I think my skin looks good. So nothing terrible here. It's just those little fine-tuned preferences and that kind of thing. So I need to go to bed. I'm quite tired. Okay, so I'm back for one more little check-in, addendum, whatever you want to call it. So I just finished filming the part 2 of my FabFitFun spoiler video. So I did wear the foundation and the concealer for part 1. So I wore it for that video, and I've now had this makeup on for over an hour actually, because I did my makeup before I sat down to eat or whatever. So yeah, I've had it on for a while, and I used all my non-Laura Mercier products that I typically use. I did want to just mention as well that because I've had a little bit of issue with concealer shades recently, in the Beautylish Lucky Bag, I did wear the Fenty, the new Wear Even Hydrating Concealer, and I have it in the shade 100C. I think this was too light for me. So I did order, I think the next like neutral cool option they have. So I'm curious to try that one out. I might have to end up mixing them a bit, but yeah, I'll come back to that in a future video. But yeah, I just wanted to, I guess, check in one more time about this foundation and concealer. I think this concealer is still a little bit too yellow, and I think the foundation is still a little bit too peach. So yeah, those kind of shade complaints aside, I will also say that I think this concealer does crease a little bit more than I kind of want it to. I did use my Ulta Beauty under eye patches today. These guys while I was doing my eye makeup. And I used the Charlotte Tilbury corrector, which I normally use, and the By Terry hyaluronic pressed powder underneath my eyes. So all pretty kind of dry skin friendly products. And yeah, I think, like I said, like it doesn't look bad. And I think it does look better than when I first reviewed it. So there's that, but it's not totally blowing my socks off, I guess. And same with the foundation. So yeah, I think it looks pretty good. It doesn't feel the best on my dry skin. So for comfort reasons, I would probably reach for something else. I did this time use the Make Reverse Emulsion, and I used the Charlotte Tilbury powder basically all over, and then I used some of the Lisa Eldridge mist again. So that was kind of the routine I did, and yeah, like I think it still looks pretty good. There was one little spot over here which maybe looked a little bit dry, like it kind of caught on some dry skin when I first applied it, but I mean, it doesn't look bad, especially from like a conversational distance. Yeah, I don't know. I think the hardest reviews are where you don't feel strongly one way or the other. So I'm just kind of meh about it, you know? Like, I don't think I absolutely wasted my money, but they're not products I want to continue using every time I do my makeup, if that helps. So anyway, I just wanted to do one more check-in. Again, use different products with it, and I did try to like leave little notes. I've basically edited the whole video up to this point. I tried to make little annotations here and there, but I know sometimes hearing it is just the best way of hearing the information, right? So anyway, with all that being said, let me know if you've tried this foundation, if you've been able to get your hands on it since it went viral, if you've been able to try the concealer already, and what you think of it. But until next time, I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.